Hey guys, the Explorer of Horror here, the Horror Boy. Welcome back to some more reviews, and we're going to be getting to a series of reviews I've been wanting to do for years on this channel. It's a series of videos and reviews I've been waiting to do for such a long time, and I couldn't wait to get to them, and that is my reviews on the Spider-Man movies. Now, I won't be reviewing that 70s film because it's really a pilot more than anything, but yeah, Spider-Man. I'm going to be talking about all the movies. I can't wait to get into it. Spider-Man or Captain America, either or is my favorite. I can say this, they're my top favorite Marvel superheroes. And then for DC, it's Green Lantern and Batman. But Spider-Man, this DVD pack, very cheap pack, very basic, but I like it. You have Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3. You have The Amazing Spider-Man, and then you have Homecoming. So I have those on DVD. Then I have the Blu-ray of Far From Home. And then I have the Blu-ray of Into the Spider-Verse. And there are rumors that when No Way Home comes out, there's going to be a new Blu-ray set, but it's just rumors. Nothing concrete, just rumors. But yeah, if we're going to be getting to the reviews in the Spider-Man movies, you always got to go and start with the original film, Spider-Man, which came out in 2002, gets a 7.3 on IMDb by Sam Raimi. And Spider-Man 1, this is a movie that I watched so much as a kid. It was ridiculous. This and Spider-Man 2, I watched back to back over and over and over again. I was really into Spider-Man when I was a kid. I had posters of the 90s show and the comics and just all over my room. You know, I was just a big Spider-Man fan. And I still am. Spider-Man is definitely top favorites is Captain America and Spider-Man. And this movie, I remember just being a kid and really loving everything about it. And this and Spider-Man 2, to me, are the best Spider-Man movies still. To this day, to me. Because they really nail, to me, the Peter Parker aspect, the story, the heart. These movies have a really good heart to them. And yeah, I've been on top of these movies for so long now, for so many years. I just never really had time to get into the Spider-Man movies. But Spider-Man 1, of course, the plot, everybody knows the plot. It's about Peter Parker, the nerdy kid in high school, the kid that misses the bus. And he goes to this presentation at a lab, and one of the genetically enhanced spiders gets out of their cages, or, you know, where they're being held. Spider lands on him, bites him on the hand, and he begins to get these powers. And the movie's villain is the Green Goblin, played by William Dafoe. And where do I start with this movie? First of all, the cast. This movie has a great, fantastic cast. You got Tobey Maguire, you got William Dafoe, you got James Franco. Rosemary Harris as May Parker, great job. Cliff Robertson as Ben Parker, excellent. J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson, excellent. And I don't mind Kirsten Dunst in this movie. That's probably the one thing that sticks out to me about these movies is Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane. Now look, Kirsten Dunst acting isn't the problem. The character of Mary Jane Watson in these movies, probably, if I had any issues, it would be the character of Mary Jane, because she really just doesn't grow in these movies as a character that much. And it's Mary Jane Watson. I mean, this is a big character. And I definitely thought Emma Stone in The Amazing Spider-Man was a better, you know, character, and Gwen Stacy. I thought there was more between her and Peter Parker. There was just better, you know, I don't know, maybe chemistry there. But, you know, Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane, not bad acting, but I don't know. In this movie, she's okay. And then Spider-Man 2, she's alright. It's really Spider-Man 3 is where we get into the problems. But Kirsten Dunst in this movie is not bad. Mary Jane's not a bad character in this movie. This is more of the origin story of Spider-Man. So he first gets his powers. He goes to this wrestling event and fights Macho Man Randy Savage's Bone. I think it's Bonesaw. And I love the whole Bonesaw is ready. And I got you for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of playtime. I love that whole scene. And the movie has a lot of fun to it. It's got a lot of comedy. I love that. I love Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. I think his portrayal is the best, just emotional-wise. But also, he can be funny at times, but he's not really the Spider-Man that's, saying one-liners every 5 minutes, which I really don't care. I can have a Spider-Man that's more of a serious, down-to-earth Spider-Man. What really makes him as a great Peter Parker and Spider-Man is Peter Parker is such an innocent person. He is such a just normal person, good-hearted person, always having the world against him. He's always being pushed down, but somehow he keeps going. Somehow he keeps getting back up. And he nailed that aspect of Spider-Man. So I really thought he nailed Peter Parker, and I thought he did a great job as Spider-Man, where it's more of a serious, but also having a bit of fun kind of portrayal of Spider-Man, which I liked. The costume is still my favorite costume of the Spider-Man movies. I like the way it looks, the silver web design through the costume, the color. I like it. I think it's all excellent. It matches these movies. The music by Danny Elfman I thought was it's definitely one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. And not only is it my favorite score, one of my favorite scores of all time, soundtrack-wise, it is legit one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. I love that song, A Hero Will Save Us. I'm not gonna stand here and wait. I can't sing, but Chad Kroeger sings that song, and it's a great song for this movie. But the opening credits, I like the way it's done. I like the design of it. I like the font they chose for the opening credits. I like the music by Danny Elfman. The main theme song is just iconic. I love the costume. I love the cast. I love that the movie is directed by Sam Raimi. A lot of excellent scenes in this movie. The Spidey sense scenes I thought were done the best in this movie. They still have not topped the Spidey sense stuff in the Raimi movies to me. But I loved how much detail there was to it, of going through the air and seeing somebody throwing a paper airplane. Then you go over here and you see somebody, spitting a spitball. Then you go over here and it's Flash's fist going right to the camera. I love that. I love various scenes. The scene where he learns he can climb on the walls. Great scene. Iconic scene. The wrestling scene. Iconic. You got my name wrong. It's the human spider. Get out there, you moron. I love that scene. It's a funny, even the little bits in the movie where he's like, I need that money. Hey, I missed the part. That's my problem. And then he lets, of course, as part of the origin of Spider-Man, he lets the guy who robbed him go. And that guy killed Uncle Ben. And as a kid, that was just heartbreaking. And, as a kid, I really got into this movie. And I rooted for Spider-Man. I rooted for Peter Parker. And even to this day when I watch it, it's a good character. The origin is done well. I'm glad this movie did the origin because it did it well. It did it right. I don't mind Green Goblin in this movie. I know some people don't get into the Green Goblin aspect. To me, William Dafoe, one of my favorite actors, definitely one of my favorite actors out there, portrayed the Green Goblin very well to me. The whole split personality aspect and how he is as Norman compared to how he is as the Green Goblin. Would it have been cool to get an actual Green Goblin? Yeah. But at the time, how are they going to really do that and make it work? Now, let's think about this for a second. Yeah, they made a mask of the Green Goblin. Yeah, it was practical. But would it have worked for a movie? And this is Sam Raimi. Now, this is a guy who's made Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2. And Army of Darkness and all these great movies. Darkman, Drag Me to Hell. If he or whoever looked at that mask and thought it didn't work, it probably wasn't going to look good on film. Now, yes, in our minds, we're like, oh my god, it was an actual Green Goblin mask and it looked like the comic book version. Yes, but would it have worked for film? Would it have been laughable? Would it just... Green Goblin is hard to do on film because it's kind of it works in comics, it works in animation, but to do it in film, it can be laughable, it can be goofy if it's done wrong. But to me, they haven't done a bad Green Goblin yet, except for Amazing Spider-Man 2, which I'll admit, I don't like the Green Goblin in that movie. But to me, William Dafoe's portrayal, I liked. I liked the costume, the look of the Green Goblin, the armor. Yeah, it is a bit of a thing where you notice it's like, okay, why would he choose a Green Goblin face for the, the armor? Why would he not just make a regular, armor mask? What made him, at least have him go on the balcony and look at a gargoyle and go, maybe that's what I'll use. Because I like the part where Spider-Man, he's writing down what he's drawing like pictures of like maybe what the costume will look like, what's his name. But with William Dafoe, he just kind of picks the Green Goblin for no reason, like a Green Goblin mask. Like, what made him make that costume? You know what I mean? But costume-wise, I didn't mind it. I thought it was a pretty cool look for the Green Goblin. And I thought the Green Goblin was a perfect first villain. Perfect. Because that's who you always think of. What if Batman, you think of who? The Joker. With Spider-Man, you think of who? Green Goblin. Some think of Dr. Octopus. Some people think of maybe Rhino or Scorpion or Kraven the Hunter. But to me, Green Goblin is the essential Spider-Man villain. He is the Joker of the Spider-Man series, to me. To me, at least, to me. But yeah, I think he was a good portrayed character. I like the idea of the split personalities. William Dafoe nailed it. I like the look of the costume. I like how you have Green Goblin in this movie. And I love just for the 2002, when this movie was being made, just been released in 2002, the CGI at times, yeah, is it noticeable? Yeah, but a lot of it they try to hide. They try to do a lot of it practically, and that's what I really picked up on while going back and watching this movie. There's actually a lot of practical effects in there that people don't really talk about nowadays. You have practical scenes of Spider-Man swinging on the web and jumping over things, and a lot of wire work and stunts, and the balcony sequence during the parade. That was a pretty cool scene. That was all, well, there was a crappy CGI pumpkin bomb that disintegrates people. That was crappy, but the practical balcony just crumbling and Mary Jane falling, him catching her, a lot of that was practical. I like that. I think it's really noticeable, where there's not a lot of CGI in this movie. A lot of the fight scenes are choreographed very well and just are practical and done, done for real. And I like that. They're done live action, practically. The special effects, though, they hold up for me. I mean, there's a few that stick out, but for me, most of them do, to me, hold up. And it's cool seeing the scenes of him swinging through the city, and I maybe would have preferred a scene where you had him just going from day to day kind of activities where he's saving people, and because Spider-Man, you do kind of want to see him helping people. It's like Superman, you kind of want to see him helping people, but I didn't really notice it that much. Him not saving a whole lot of people, but you do have some good scenes. The scene at the end where he has to choose the children or Mary Jane, where he's got the kids over here and Mary Jane over here, and he drops them. Wrong answer. And Spider-Man, of course, saves both. And I like the fight scenes between Green Goblin and Spider-Man. The scene where Spider-Man's jumping in slow-mo to avoid the blade. I don't remember what they're called. They're like blade things. Him jumping and avoiding these things in slow-mo, and the fire, the practical look of the set in that scene. A lot of good set design as well. I really like the set design and the way the movie looked in this film. But yeah, I love the burning building scene where he's jumping and he's dodging those things. And, I like the end fight. The end fight is crazy. It's one of the most brutal fights in the Spider-Man movie, where he's being punched and you're seeing blood and just spit in slow-mo. Green Goblin was flipping and kicking him across the room, and Spider-Man still fighting, tries to shoot a web and steps on his arm. You know, as you can tell, I'm a freaking nerd for the Spider-Man movies, but yeah, I enjoy them a lot. But I love when he does that and the Goblin stomps his hand and he goes, "You've spun your last web, Spider-Man." A lot of good dialogue, a lot of memorable lines in this movie. I also enjoy the scene where him and Goblin are talking, and he's like, you know, there's a lot of people in this city, but eventually they're going to hate you. Eventually you're going to become the villain. You know, you don't... Kind of that speech of, you know, you either die the hero or you live long enough to become the villain. And talking about how eventually these people will betray him. Spider-Man. And that was a good scene. But yeah, a lot of good dialogue, some great action sequences. It's directed very well. It tells the origin story well. I liked the cast a lot in this movie. Tobey Maguire is still my favorite Spider-Man and my favorite Peter Parker. Although Tom Holland is a very close second. Like, Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield both did an excellent job portraying Peter Parker. But yeah, Tobey Maguire is just my favorite Spider-Man and Peter Parker. But yeah, I like the costume design. I like the special effects, the music, the story, the origin story, how it's told. It's a little bit over 2 hours long, but it's not too long. It doesn't drag. But yeah, Spider-Man 1, I'm going to give 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 for me. It's one of my favorite movies to watch, and I love it to death. It's one of my favorite films of all time. I have a lot of nostalgia for it, but that's not the only reason why I like it. There's a lot of reasons why I like it. It's directed very well. It's made well. And yeah, overall, I really, really enjoy this movie. But if you haven't seen Spider-Man, go check it out. But if you have, what's your thoughts on it? Let me know in the comments below. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you think it's meh? How would you rate it? I give it a 9 out of 10, but how would you rate it? Yeah, anyways, definitely let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments below. But yeah, thanks so much for watching my review on Spider-Man. I'll see you guys later for my review of Spider-Man 2. But yeah, thanks so much for watching the review. Hope you guys enjoyed. The Explorer 4 is out, and I'll see you guys later. Peace!